face.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend and you're ready for a great show. Let me get myself set up over here. We got lots to talk about, man. Boxing is back. We are back in business, ladies and gentlemen. That's good to hear. It's good to know. Let's see. Come on, come on, come on. Of course. Uh, why am I? There we go. All right. Let's get the chat going here on YouTube. Wow, that feed is not very clear. Hopefully that gets better. All right, guys. I see a few of you are on here. You guys will all trickle in. I will get myself set up here, and then we'll get live on Spreaker. We're going to have Gabriel Flores Jr. on in probably about 15, 20 minutes, and we'll talk to him. He's got a fight coming up in a week, next week. So, all right. Sean's on the chat. I'm doing good, my man. How you doing? It's Monday. We got some stuff to discuss. Let's go ahead and ruffle some feathers today. We got some good stuff, some bad stuff. We got, a mix, a little bit of everything. I may as well go ahead and get started over on Spreaker. So let me do that now. So for those of you who can't watch on YouTube, you can listen live over there. Hang on 1 second, guys. Hello again, fight fans. Welcome to episode 224 of the Neutral Corner Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Michael Montero, and today we have special guest Gabriel Flores Jr. out of Stockton, California, the Stockton King, 17-0, fighting next week on ESPN. And let's see, what else? Boxing is back, guys. We got boxing tomorrow. We got boxing Thursday. We've got these Tuesday and Thursday cards really for like the next month. So I know a lot of you out there have been critical of the matchups. Not the best matchups. I get it. There's a lot of one-sided matchmaking there. I understand. But boxing is back. And I think that these cards are going to serve as a market sampler, kind of like an appetizer, whet everybody's appetite as we build into some bigger matchups coming down. I'd say July we start to get some good stuff, but then August, September, I actually think we're going to get some good matchups this year, guys. I really, really do. So I am remaining confident and optimistic, despite boxing letting me down so many times. Let's see. So this is episode 224 of the Neutral Corner for the week of June 13th. That's this Saturday. Guess what? That's also my birthday. That's right. This Saturday, June 13th, I turned 41 years old. Can you believe it? I know, I don't look 41, do I? The hairline might. I'm losing. The hairline is going higher and higher every year. That widow's peak is popping a bit more. Other than that, though, I think I'm doing all right at 41. I think I'm doing all right. So why am I saying this? Because I want all of you guys to pool the money together and buy me a jacuzzi. No, I'm just joking. Although that would be awesome. I'm letting you guys know that because this weekend, my lovely fiance Tiffany and myself, we are going out of town. We are going to unplug from social media and all the negativity and craziness that's going on in the world right now. And we're going to get away just for a few days. So we're going to take off for the weekend, and we won't be back till next Tuesday. And so that means no show next Monday, June 15th. So no show next week, all right? Just want to give you guys a heads up because I'm taking a few days off for my birthday. I freaking need it. Guys, as always, remember, like, share, subscribe, retweet the show, get it out there, all right? Whether you're listening to the audio version right now live on Spreaker or you're watching me live, the video version here on YouTube. Either way, guys, make sure that you share the show, get the word out, because the assholes at Google are actively trying to suppress channels like mine and keep it under 10,000 subscribers. I so need your guys' help to get over that 10,000 benchmark. It'll prop me up to that next level in their algorithm. They'll still be working against me. They still will be working against me, but I can fight back a little harder if I get over 10,000 subs. I need your guys' help to do that. So please get the word out and make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click that notification bell on YouTube so you know when I go live, okay? But you guys know it's pretty much every Monday, sans a few weeks a year. Let's see, what else? I wanted to say something real quick. I wanted to say rest in peace to retired St. Louis police captain David Dorn, who was 77 years old, gunned down, murdered last week. He was responding to a situation. Even though he retired in 2007 after 38 years on the force, he still stayed involved in the community there in St. Louis, and he was responding to a situation. There was a looting situation going on in certain parts of St. Louis, and there was, I think it was a pawn shop that there was a call put in. He responded to it and was gunned down. Tragically, died right there on the sidewalk, and I just think it's an absolute shame that the media is not talking about that. They should be. It should be front page news, and everybody should know this man's name, David Dorn, a wonderful, wonderful human being, a great American who, over almost 4 decades in the police force, did so many things. It probably touched thousands of lives there in St. Louis, improved the lives of so many in his community. Gunned down by cowards last weekend. So there has been an arrest. Stephen Cannon, 24 years old, arrested. Everyone in America should know his name. These names are not going to be promoted in most of the media, but you should know these names, so I'm telling them right now. Rest in peace, David Dorn. My heartfelt condolences and thoughts go out to the Dorn family. And Stephen Cannon has been arrested, 24 years old, for that shooting. We'll see what happens there. Okay, back to boxing, guys. Real quick tangent there. Sorry about it. Just had to get that out there because nobody else in the media will talk about it. Okay, boxing is back this week. Tuesday and Thursday shows. And again, as I've said, they will run weekly into July. I posted a piece on ringtv.com last week that detailed the new protocols and procedures that the promoters are having to go through there in Nevada specifically. Top Rank has kind of built a little a facility, but it's like a campus, if you will, where their fighters are going to live basically for the next month. And there's all these procedures and things that NSAC laid out, but also the MGM executives have their own set. And Top Rank had to make an operational plan to go along with that. So I posted an article last week. It's still there at ringtv.com. They bumped it up to the top of the page because it's relevant, obviously, this week. So, guys, go over there and check that out. I know, a lot of you guys would rather me post some clickbaity bullshit, but, I like to actually write about boxing news. And so make sure you guys go check that out. But we're going to be talking to one of the fighters who's there on that campus. So we'll get to ask him some questions about life on that campus and just how different it is in this post-COVID world that we're living in. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. Speaking of that, Michaela Mayer tests positive for COVID-19 and is off the Top Rank show. I can't remember if she was going to fight this week or next week. Forgive me. I just don't remember. But I believe it was this week. And she tested positive for COVID-19. I think she made a statement on Instagram talking about that she doesn't have any symptoms, doesn't feel sick or anything like that. But since she tested positive, she is obviously off the show. So Top Rank's testing is up to standard because, look, if you're testing positive, there's certain procedures and everything and there's quarantines and all that before your test results come through. And it looks like so far it's working. I know some people in the media, quote unquote, the blue checkmark brigade, took this and ran with it and said, oh, they shouldn't even be doing this. See, sports shouldn't even be back, those sorts of people. But what do you want? I think the procedures worked flawlessly here. This is a person, Michaela Mayer, who's not at risk in terms of losing her life due to the illness based on everything that we know with her age group and everything else. But because she tested positive, it was discovered, and she's been quarantined and she's off the show. And so everybody else, they're not at risk because of the testing procedures that Top Rank put into place. So I think that this is a good thing. I'm not glad Michaela Mayer tested positive. Obviously, that's horrible. But the fact that it was discovered before the event and she was removed from the event, that shows you that the procedures are working. That's what we want, right? For anybody to look at this and say, oh, just complain about it. It's always the same people complaining about that shit. These are the beta soy boy assholes. Anyway, so, obviously we wish her a speedy recovery, and she should. I think she'll be just fine. And what I don't know is, because this hasn't been talked about, is it that she tested for the antibodies, like maybe she had the virus before, maybe she had it and recovered, and they just found that she had it in her system and was like a carrier of it? Or does she have it right now and is just asymptomatic. That I don't really know. I can't remember for sure. If you guys know, let me know because I'm just not sure on that. But obviously with this whole COVID-19 thing, we are still discovering, guys. We're going to be like unpacking all the data from this to try to understand it and how it works and everything for years. Nobody knows exactly how it works. But at some point, we all have to get back to work, right? So we need boxing back. We need sports back. I think, uh, taking what we do know so far and all the precautionary measures that we could take, doing that and ensuring that we're doing everything in our power to ensure the safety. We know it's not foolproof. We know it's not 100%, but it's still better than doing nothing, obviously. And man, you can't sit around and just keep the economy dying. I just found out today, once again, I got hit by this thing, this whole the global shutdown that we've had. I do some contracting work for another company on top of the boxing work I do. I do some reporting work as a contractor, and they let me know today that basically my pay is going to be cut by 15%. So boxing monthly, poof, that's gone. That avenue, uh, revenue stream is gone, if you will. This other job where I do some contracting work, 15% of my pay is being cut for no reason other than the company's bleeding right now because of the shutdown and the economic impact that's had. And so, I told you guys, I've talked about all the gym owners I know and whose gyms have been shut down, places where I trained at, friends of mine. So this thing has affected us in so many different ways. I'm just glad to see people getting back to work. I really, really am, including people in the boxing world. All right, speaking of the boxing world, rumors of Manny Pacquiao fighting Gennady Golovkin. Stop. Stop with this. People, Freddie Roach said this in an interview. I can't even remember what platform it was on. But of course, immediately there's 1,000 articles. I'm getting calls and questions from my casual fight fan friends, that watch, a couple UFC cards, a couple boxing cards a year. Like, dude, is this going to happen? And no, it's not going to happen. Stop. And I've actually seen people talking about it on their podcast, laying out a mythical scenario. What if, Gennady Golovkin, fights him at a catchweight, melts down to 158 or some shit? What if, and Manny beat Antonio Margarito at junior middleweight before, so maybe they could do it at junior middleweight. Stop, everybody. It's a completely different situation. Manny is 40 plus years old. I get it. He just beat Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman was probably a little overrated by a lot of people out there. Still an outstanding win for him. I'm not taking anything away, but I understand Golovkin struggled in that fight with Sergey Derevyanchenko, who's probably a little underrated by people out there. I get it, but this is like two different worlds, guys. Manny Pacquiao is essentially a blown-up lightweight or junior welterweight who fights at welterweight. Golovkin is a solid, sturdy middleweight. Regardless of what some of the things you guys have been told, he does not struggle to make 160. But he's not a small middleweight, but he's not a big middleweight either. I get that. But look, man, that's just too much of a weight differential and the power and everything else. Stop with this, okay? We have plenty of good fights that are going to happen this year and over the next 12 to 18 months. We don't need to be talking about Manny versus Gennady Golovkin. Like, that's insane, all right? Let's talk about Gennady Golovkin in his third fight with Canelo Alvarez that we're going to get next May. You're going to get Pacquiao versus possibly Mikey Garcia, but at some point next year, it's going to be Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. If somehow Danny Garcia beat Errol Spence, he'll have to knock him out to do it. But if somehow that happened, it's going to be Pacquiao versus Danny Garcia. All right, so those are all quality fights that you're going to get. You don't need to talk about this one because it's not happening. One fight that you probably are going to get in mid-July, so, a month from now, Eleider Alvarez and Joe Smith Jr. have agreed to terms, have agreed in principle to fight. They have an eliminator fight for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title. So I think the WBO wants to do a 4-man tournament kind of thing. And I know they have mentioned Canelo's name, possibly Canelo fighting Gilberto Ramirez. I just don't know if Canelo wants any part of that. Not that he fears Gilberto Ramirez, but I just think he wants to take on some bigger fish, maybe even a little easier, bigger fish, more reward, a little less risk. he doesn't give a shit about the WBO 175 title. He went up and grabbed it once. That was what it was. So anyway, Alvarez and Smith. I like that fight. I liked it a lot. That is a good, solid matchup, and that would be a fun freaking fight. Another fight that's probably going to happen in September. Luke Campbell fighting against Devin Haney. I like that fight a lot. Luke Campbell will be the best opponent Haney has fought to date. Say what you will about Luke Campbell. I know he's taken a couple of losses, but they were to Vasily Lomachenko and Jorge Linares. There's no shame in that. And he was really, really close in his fight with Linares. So I was there for that fight. That was a very close fight, even though he got dropped. I like the matchup a lot. If Luke Campbell and Devin Haney fight, same height, same reach, same size, and Campbell is a southpaw, gold medalist, I think, in the 2012 games. I do believe 2012. And he's fought those top guys like Lomachenko, like Linares. So he's got that experience. That is a great step-up fight for Devin Haney and a great defense of his quote-unquote title belt. Okay? Also, in the news front, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute. I think our guest is on here. But Deontay Wilder returns to social media with an interesting video and tweet. We'll talk about that a little bit in a second here. But let's see if our guest is on the line. I do believe he is. Let's jump over to the hotline here and see if we have Gabriel Flores. Are you on the line? Gabriel, is that you? Let's see. He doesn't know he's on. Gabriel, are you on the line? Hello. 925, you're on the show. Okay. I guess we're having tech difficulties. 925. All right, I'm going to drop this call. I guess we'll have to, let me see, guys. Let me send a quick message to somebody to make sure that Gabriel's ready, because I could not hear anybody there. Give me 1 second. I apologize for the people. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Not sure if you guys can hear this at all, but that messaging. So, all right, I think we got him on the line. Hang on 1 second here. It just seems there's technical difficulties every week. This is why I need a producer on the show. All right, let's try this again. 925. You're on the neutral corner. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Hey, Gabriel, is that you, my man? Is that you, my man?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
Gabriel.
me, man.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Gabriel Flores Jr., everybody, the Stockton King in the house, repping the 209. I was expecting a 209 area code. So anyway, thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I wanted to ask you, you're calling from that, I imagine you're calling from Vegas in that top rank facility, right? That little campus they built for you guys?
Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to shed a couple extra pounds right there.
You're gonna shed a few pounds there. Yeah, I wanted to ask, just kind of like what life is like at that campus right now, because obviously everything going on with COVID and the whole situation. Could you like explain to the people listening, just how it all worked out, like how you got there, like transportation wise, how the testing is going, the training procedures, where they put you guys up, where you're staying, how you're handling meals, like all that stuff.
Well, I was born and raised right there in Stockton, but I just moved right here to Vegas in February. So I've been out here in Vegas. I got tested about 2 weeks ago. Just went in real fast, and that's about it. Right now, it's calm. I'm going to have to go into the bubble before my fight, of course. But right now, everything's going smooth. I'm training right there at Capatillos. Everything's going well. I'm training hard, getting in shape. This for sure up to my game, moving here to Vegas.
So I didn't even know that you had moved to Vegas earlier this year. My apologies. Was moving to Vegas, was that like a strategic thing, like for you and your team? Did you decide that you need to do that to kind of take your career to the next level?
For sure. Back at home in Stockton, it was hard to get sparring. We're getting it, but just not enough. And we know for sure right here in Vegas, we got the quality sparring right here all day long. So that's what we needed. And I'm getting great in shape over here.
So when did you find out that you had a fight? I know that you have a fight coming up, I think June 18th, of course, at the MGM Grand. It's going to be on ESPN. But when did you
Yeah.
find out, like, the actual date and the opponent and all of that?
I'll say probably about a month ago. Yeah.
Okay, so it
About
was
on
like
a month.
last minute.
Kind of give me about 8 weeks, 6 weeks,
Oh, okay.
8 to 6 weeks, So, but I've been in the gym. I stay in the gym, so there was no problem. Nothing, no weight problems, no nothing. So I'm always ready when I get that call.
And so, like, the facility right now that's set up by Top Rank at the MGM, that where they're going to be putting on all these fights, these Tuesday and Thursday night shows. Right now, because it's not fight week for you, can you, like, leave that facility and go home since you live there in Vegas, or do you have to stay there until the fight?
Well, I'm not even in that facility at all right now. I'm
Okay.
right here at my spot in Vegas at home. So, but I heard once you enter, you can't go out. They have you there like prior, like a week or a little less until your fight night, and then once you go inside that hotel room or the area, you can't leave the facility.
Okay, so you haven't even been on that little campus yet, but so you've been tested, and of course they quarantine you until you get the results. But have they told you, like, what day you have to go in there, and, like, is your dad coming with you? Like, do you get to bring any family members, or how does that work?
Well, in the corners is to be me, my pops, and the cut man. That's
That's it.
it.
Okay.
But I haven't got a exact date yet where I'm gonna enter the bubble, what they call it, the
I
bubble.
love it. Yeah, entering the bubble. I heard that on, like, Twitter. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? That makes sense because it feels like
Yeah,
a bubble, right?
that's yeah. Yeah, man, everything's closed. They're just making sure nobody else catches what everybody else has. Everybody that's clean stays clean, and they're ready for fight night. And whoever out there in the world got the virus, we don't get in contact with them, so we just
Right.
gonna be right there in the bubble.
Now, you mentioned moving to Vegas in February to kind of take your career to the next level. You also made a move recently where you signed a managerial deal with James Prince. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mm.
you're the first fighter of Mexican heritage to sign with James Prince as a manager. Why is that significant to you? And why deal with James Prince? And, like, what is the plan there with him?
Yeah, I was the first Mexican to get signed by Jay, and well, all of that is Jay's for sure you're at my stock and everything, and the connections. When I'm right there with Jay, it's a big following. It created a big following already for me. More people know my face, and Jay's just gonna line it up and everything. We got everything going well. When I'm training, he's there, or Antonio Leonard's there. So, man, it's for sure a great adding to my game, to my team for sure. Like I said, we building an empire over here. We got a lot of strong people behind me.
Dude, I mean, yeah, you got a squad, bro. I mean, you just turned 20 years old last month. You're a young kid, right? You signed a promotional deal with Top Rank at just 16 years old. I think that was in late 2016. And I believe you were the youngest fighter to ever sign a deal with Top Rank. Pro debut at 17 years old. Now at 20, you got a deal with James Prince. You moved to Vegas. You're setting everything up. It just feels like you got everything perfectly lined up right now. Now, in your mind, what would the next 12 to 24 months of your career look like if you could have everything your way?
Like what you just said, you lined it up perfectly. Each step I'm doing is making my career better and making me ready for the success. We're preparing for success. We're going after it. I want to make sure we get it. I mean, look at all the things we're doing, all the right things, and Jay for sure was a big plus. And we knew what he brings to the table, which is a lot. And within the next 12 to 24 months, maybe a world title, we could go grab that real fast. And then after that, then we're going to keep it rocking, man. I'm working. Fight by fight is going to tell us how close that world title fight is. Fight by fight, that's how we're going to know. Right now, we're seeing it within a year and a half. So we're ready, man. And if I do get that world title shot, just know that night I'm going to be ready when I grab that title, for sure. No questions asked.
So you think even with COVID and the lockdown and all this stuff that's kind of paused all the plans, you still want to
Well,
go for that world title
yeah,
by
that sounds I feel like all this is gonna clear up within a year.
Okay.
They'll be
Okay.
back to audiences and all that. Like I saw Bob Arum talking about. They posted something about using the Raiders Stadium and having 10,000 people in attendance, having all spread it out, and then adding up to 10,000. So they're already planning, hoping to do that in September. So imagine within a year from right now. I think it'll be pretty good, man. I'm hoping.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's amazing the way all these chips are kind of lining up for you. And as such a young guy, how do you keep your head, how do you keep your wits about you? I mean, when I was 20, I wouldn't have been able to handle what you're going through right now. I was too dumb. How are you handling it at 20 years old? Is it your pops, kind of keeping a close watch on you? Is it just, the strong family union? I mean, how do you keep your head, man, with all this attention at such a young age?
A little bit of everything, for sure. My pops, talking to me, making sure I'm right, waking me up. But I see the big picture. I know what my goal is. Ever since I was a young kid, man, I'm talking about like preschool. I always knew what I wanted to do. I want to be a world champion. I want to be the best and stay that way. And to this day, I still have that on my mind. I know what I'm going for. So every day, every time, every night I step in that ring, I'm gonna be 100% prepared, and I'm always gonna come out with the win, man. Because I know what's in front of me. I know what I got to do, and I believe in me and my team.
And how often do you think you want to fight in Stockton? Like, let's say next year you fight, you win a title. How important would it be to you to get back to that area and fight? Like, how often? Would you like to do it once a year if you could, or how would that look?
We like to do it twice a year, and
Okay.
I started out the very first time. So we got big plans. Maybe when we could fit an extra few heads, we'll go down to Sacramento right there, not too far, at the Golden Wind Center.
That'd be great. I can't think of the last time there was like a major fight there. So that would be a great show, man. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just looking. You got like 40,000 followers on Instagram. That seems to be where you're really building up a presence for yourself. That's awesome. Um, I mean, do you feel like you're an influencer already? I mean, they use that term on social media, right? You have that kind of following. You're only 20 years old, but you already have that kind of following. Do you feel responsibilities, being somebody that has that many eyes upon you?
Big time. I see. I'm the name of my city. Every time I step out, I'm representing Stockton, California. So of course, I feel that responsibility to make us look good. I'm fighting for us. Every time in the ring, I'm fighting for the youth in our city, letting them know that there's a lot out there. They could do a lot. That show them that they don't have to be limited thinking, because there's a lot out there. Because just because where you come from, don't mean you can't do something or make something out of yourself. And you could no matter what town you're born in, you can still do whatever you desire to do. And that's what I'm doing, man. That's what I'm showing them. To this day, I go to elementary schools back in Stockton, high schools, and I talk to them. And I just let them know, man, like I was the same kid like them from Stockton, California, growing up. Same thing. All I did was I had a plan and I chased it, and I made sure the people around me were with the plan. Not against or distracting me. Everybody was on board.
That's a great attitude, man. Stockton is an area that it's been hard hit by the economy and things like that in recent years, and to have somebody like you proudly repping that area and willing to come back and do shows there, I think that's great. It gives the community something to rally behind, somebody to rally behind, and you've done crowds of over 10,000 there, and I think February 22nd you fought at MGM on the Fury Wilder rematch. I think that was probably the biggest crowd you fought in front of, though. I think there was like 15,000. What was that experience like fighting on that undercard?
It was amazing, man. Fighting MGM, like that's like the biggest fight, like you could probably say in the past decade or something. Because when heavyweights get together, two world champion heavyweights get together, it catches everybody's attention. It catches people that are not even boxing fans' attention. They just want to watch it because when you talk about heavyweights, everybody starts thinking about Mike Tyson and all them. So,
Right.
man, they get pumped up when they hear heavyweight world champions going at it.
Yeah, I ask everybody that was there that night, did you expect Tyson Fury to do what he did? Because he was talking all this shit before that fight. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I think he said he was going to knock him out in the second round, and I was like, yeah, right. You know, that's what most people thought. What did you think going in? Who did you favor to win that fight?
I favored Fury to win that fight. I thought it was an all box him and win him, and he's slick and just win and caught on for the last fight. But I did not expect him to go out there and dog Wilder like that.
Right?
That caught me by surprise for sure.
Yeah, I think it just surprised everybody. How do you see that third fight playing out?
Kind of in the same way, man. I see Wilder really trying harder. Probably he's gonna be a little more in shape. Probably going a little harder, but I see Fury coming up on top again. It'll probably take him a little longer, but I see Fury's the truth, man. He's the truth.
Right now, you're listed as a lightweight, but you've kind of been fighting at like 132, 133. When you go for that world title, do you think it'll be at 130, or do you think it'll be at 135?
I say 30.
130. Okay.
I can make 30, man. Yeah.
So
yeah,
where are you going to be
sure.
fighting at on the 18th? Is it going to be lightweight?
Same thing. Catchweight. 133.
Oh, it's a catchweight? Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, so if you're talking about 130, is there a particular fighter or fighters that you'd want to target? Like, do you see, of all the titleists right now, all the guys with the title, is there one guy that you look at and say, his style, that's good for me? Is there a guy that you'd like to target?
When I'm ready for the title shot, don't matter who's right there in that ring. You know what I mean? I'm going to go in there and snatch it. When we say we're ready, because once we win a title, then we're open to everybody. Now there's a big target down. I'm going to be ready to fight anybody and whoever. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It doesn't matter really who you fight, because after that fight, then you'll be fighting hitters. You're going to be fighting all the time. Then you time to rack them all up.
There's another fight I got to ask you about, man. They're talking about Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez later this year. How do you see that fight playing out?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. That's a fight I really want to watch and tune into. But Loma, he's real technical, man. He got high IQ. You know what I'm saying? He's a veteran in the game. He's gonna be hard to really hit and really connect. But that's what Teofimo needs to do. Really, he just needs to land that shot. He got power in his hands, and he's quick too. He could do it for sure, no doubt. He could make it happen, but it's all up to Loma. Make sure he's slick enough, keep him busy. Don't get reckless. Just walk him in carefully.
Yeah, and both of those guys are your brothers with top rank, so you can't really pick one, can you? You just gotta stay 50-50 on it, right?
If I thought one had the edge, I'd say it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If I really thought, you know what I'm saying? So it's nothing really. Like, I have no problem really choosing a side and saying, giving my personal opinion. But, Teofimo was young and strong and hungry, But Loma, he's a veteran, and Loma could slip up, man. He could be aging or whatever, or maybe he's not. Only he knows how he feels. But Loma on his end game is a bad man, so it's hard because, like I said, Teofimo got the power. He can touch him, and Loma's not really that big for 35. He's not really a 135. So.
Right. Yeah, you're bigger than Loma. Yeah. I'm sure you've met him. You're bigger than him, right? You're a bigger guy than him, and you're just 20 years old. So, yeah, I think people don't realize how tiny that dude is. He's definitely not a lightweight. But
and that gets it in play. And that gets in play for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question from John Uden on Facebook, and he asks, with 17 fights under your belt, what areas does your father tell you that you're improving on the most, and where does he want to see more growth and improvement?
I'm improving more by picking my shots, knowing what shots to do. And the one thing that we do need to improve is picking up the pace. I lay off my opponent sometimes. I'll catch him, pop, catch him. And sometimes I don't keep that intensity. I'll just lay off. That's why a lot of my opponents survived throughout the fights and got to the last battle, because sometimes I laid off, and relaxed off of him a little bit when I could have just kept it going. But there's ways to do it without being reckless, you know.
Yeah, it actually brings me to a question I was going to ask you because in 17 pro bouts, you have 6 KOs, but you've clearly, I mean, anyone who's watched you fight, you've hurt just about everybody you've fought. You've buzzed guys, you've hurt them. Do you think the reason for the lack of stoppages is just maybe you just need to step on the gas a little bit more, or are you focusing on developing power in your shots at the same time?
Yeah, it's just all about keeping up the pace, you know, not laying off of them, and sometimes when I gotta sit down and punch, really sit down, because a lot of times when I'm throwing there, it's off of balance and reflexes. You know what I mean? I'm not really sitting down and trying my hardest to hit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's all about the foot placement and all that.
And before I let you go, Gabriel, could you let everyone know where you are, your Instagram account? Because you're not on Twitter, right? You're only on Instagram. So let everybody know where they can find you and follow you.
I got Twitter. I'm just not too big on it, you know. But my Instagram and Twitter, they're the same names: G_squad_nation, and my Facebook is Gabriel Flores.
So G underscore. What is it again? G underscore.
G underscore.
Underscore.
G underscore squad underscore nation.
All right, there we go. It's easy enough. All right, Gabriel Flores Jr., thank you so much. I really think that you got so much potential, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, and good luck next week at the MGM in Vegas.
Will do, man. Appreciate you and appreciate the call. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Have a good one. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Gabriel Flores Jr. Now, for all of you that just listened to that interview or watched that interview, would any of you guess that guy's 20 years old? Would any of you guess that was a 20-year-old kid? Listen to him talk. The kid is so poised and so mature at that age. The sky is the limit for this kid. I'm telling you right now. Top Rank knows what they're doing. A lot of people wanted to sign this kid. They jumped in early at 16 and signed him. James Prince is signing a lot of guys, right? He recently signed Shakur Stevenson. Of course, we all know he worked with Andre Ward. His career turned out pretty damn good. There's a reason why he wanted to get on board. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen this kid fight yet, you need to. Now, look, it's a showcase fight next week on the 18th. I get it, but he's going to get back in the saddle, back in the ring, back into action. You guys need to check it out. And just I'm telling you, this kid's got a lot of potential. There's a lot to like there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But I know I'll say this too, man. Gabriel's father being so heavily involved with his training and everything else, you can see the guidance there. And you could just see the guidance. And there's a lot of fathers in boxing involved with their kids, and it doesn't always turn out good, right? Some fathers meddle too much. I mean, you think of Angel Garcia with Danny Garcia. I mean, that's a situation where I think sometimes Angel Garcia kind of works against his son Danny with some of his antics, the things he says, and even some of his technical training. But obviously, Gabriel and his team, Piglet Smith on the chat, he says LeVar Ball. Yeah, no shit. That's a great example. But yeah, in boxing, father and sons don't always work, but sometimes it does. It really, really does. And I think this is one of those situations where you can clearly see it working. And the team that they've assembled around this kid, wow. I mean, just the sky's the limit. Anyway, okay. Let's get back to, well, of course, phone line's open, guys. So if you want to get on here and you got something to say, you got a question, you need a rant, get something off your chest, you guys know the numbers. Local in the United States, 213-267-7787. And in the UK, 02081-036-051. Local numbers for you guys, so get on the phones if you got anything to talk about. But we'll do a quick preview of the shows this week. But first, I want to get to this Deontay Wilder thing. So, touchy subject. I might trigger some of yous. Just relax. Look, Deontay Wilder posted, I want to make sure I get the dates correctly. I'm looking at it right here on my screen. He posted something on June 5th. So what, that was, 2 days ago? Because today is June 8th. So he posted this on Friday. A video, it's about a minute long, wearing his Fighting Till This Day red hoodie. And he goes off with this kind of Def Poetry Slam kind of performance. He's in the middle of the woods somewhere. talking about obviously all the heavy complex stuff that's going on right now, the discussions people are having. Well, actually, people aren't having many discussions. They're just shouting battle cries at each other, slogans and hashtags and shit. No one's really listening and having a conversation. That's the fucking problem. But he kind of posted this video after basically, radio silence, if you will, for a while. And I just, look, I have been critical of Deontay Wilder at times, heavily critical. And I've been criticized for my criticism of Deontay Wilder. However, I've also defended Deontay Wilder a lot of times. I really, really have. And I've been criticized by certain people for overly defending the guy in certain situations. He's a complex person, man. There's two sides of this dude. And look, all human beings are complex, right? The media wants everyone to act like a light switch. There's either the on position or the off position. The thing is, that's not how human beings are built. We're built like that dimmer switch, right? The dial that you turn, whether it's at 20%, 50%, 80%. That's how human beings are really built, the dimmer switch. And some days you turn down the dial, some days you turn it up. We all contradict ourselves. We're all hypocrites. I get it, myself included. That's what makes us a human being. That's part of being a member of the human race. But this particular post came off rather opportunistic and divisive, in my opinion. And I think it was a swing and a miss from Deontay Wilder. So obviously this is relating to the George Floyd situation, the murder of George Floyd that happened on May 25th in Minnesota. The next day on May 26th, Deontay Wilder posted a picture of him on a motorcycle and just basically saying, hey, check out my bike, right? That had been the first time he had posted on Twitter for 3 months. So 3 months go by. The day after this murder, he posts a photo of himself on this motorcycle. Doesn't mention anything about what happened in Minnesota. Doesn't mention anything for the next couple of weeks. And then after all these protests and all these riots and the shootings of innocent people, the beatings of innocent people across the country, billions of dollars of damage, divisiveness everywhere, people yelling and screaming and foaming at the mouth, yelling at each other. He comes out with this video after all that, not during any of it, after all of it. And he's wearing his Fighting to This Day red hoodie, which he just so happens to be selling on his website. So I go over to his website, and I'm looking at it right now, the merch on the Bomb Squad website. And I see that the Fighting to This Day hoodie, you can get your very own for over $60. $60. Now I look at the other merch on the site. Every other item on the site, oh, I'm sorry, not every other item. There's 3 items here on the site that are $30, and I see one item that's $40. So everything is pretty much $30 to $40. There is another hoodie that's about $60, and then there's the Fighting to This Day hoodie. I don't know if any of this, the proceeds from this, go to benefit some sort of cause or charity or place that he's donating to because of the Fighting to This Day activist hoodie. But if he is, there's no mention of it here on the site. I'm looking at the site. There's no mention of the proceeds going to benefit any sort of charitable cause as it relates to civil rights, social justice, any of those things. So you're rocking your Till This Day, Fighting Till This Day hoodie, posting this video weeks after this incident happened, after all the looting and riots and everybody else has been opining. You come out, do this video, give this little poem kind of performance, wearing this hoodie that you just so happen to be selling on your website. I don't know, dude. I'm also looking at the reviews of this thing. The reviews are not very good. But some of these reviews are trolling, though. I mean, some of these are pretty funny. I just don't know, guys. To me, it just kind of felt a little cringeworthy to a certain degree. Also, the messaging. So I'm going to just read you the tweet, okay? The tweet that this video is attached to. It says, it isn't about blacks versus whites. It's about blacks versus racism. I get it. This isn't about blacks versus whites. It never should be. We're not at war. And some people are using that sort of rhetoric on social media. I go back to battle cries. A lot of people don't understand that the slogan they're wearing on their hat or their t-shirt or the physical gesture they're making with their body, or the hashtags, or whatever thing they're posting on their social, a lot of that is a battle cry. Meanwhile, we're not at war, right? So I think people are letting themselves really get manipulated here, but I won't go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, I don't, the wording there, because here's the thing, dude. Yeah, it's about blacks versus racism. Yes, that's true. But it's also about everybody versus racism. Everyone hates racism. Racism sucks. Nobody likes racism, right? Racism as a concept is on life support. It's barely hanging on. 99% of people are not racist. It's like 1% of human beings are actual racists. If 1%, honestly. If you really look at what that term means, and I'm not talking about the Berkeley University definition or the Woke Center ESPN definition, I'm talking about the real world definition of what racism is. 1% of the population, if that, I'm being generous, is racist, okay? The other 99% of us fucking hate it and don't stand for it. So it's not about blacks versus racism, it's about everybody versus racism. So if the mission here, Deontay, was to unify and bring people together, this didn't accomplish that. I think that it could be interpreted by people who do have an agenda as being divisive. I'm not necessarily saying I interpret it that way. I think I get what his gesture was trying to be. I think the messaging maybe just wasn't the best. And I say that as a guy that fully understands and realizes I've tweeted things, said things, written things that could be interpreted as a bad thing, in a bad way, in a bad light. And looking back, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have said it that way. I shouldn't have wrote it that way. And I've tried to learn and do better. And I'm trying to improve and get better and be more inclusive in the way I say things. I'm still going to be opinionated. I'm going to fiercely defend my opinion. But at the same time, I need to open up and try to be a little more understanding of my messaging and try to take people's point of reference or point of view into consideration. So I fully admit all that. But the messaging of this thing, it came off rather opportunistic. Hey, look at me. This is my virtue signal. Please click on this. Oh, by the way, you could get your very own hoodie like this over at my merch site. That's just the way it came off to me. Maybe I'm totally off base here, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I'll be happy to admit it if I'm wrong. But a lot of people on social media right now are talking like parrots and acting like sheep. I don't need to qualify myself to any of you on social media. And by the way, just in case you didn't know, Twitter isn't real life. Neither is YouTube or Spreaker. None of this shit's real life. Real life is real life. And the things I do in my real life, in my private life, that to donate to my community and to help out people in need, I've spent tons of time doing that stuff. Some of you guys who actually know me and have broken bread with me and we've hung out, we've had a few drinks. Your ladies met my lady, your siblings have met my siblings. You guys know how I get down and what I'm really about. People on Twitter and stuff like that, they don't know. They don't know. Most of them don't know. They're just going to make assumptions. But you don't need, it's not about what you do on social media, guys. If I could just give my opinion, it's about what you do in your real life. That's where you really truly make an impact, okay? Because social media isn't real life. So anyway, posted something like this, yeah, just kind of gave me a few douche chills. Not the first time. Just not the first time something from Deontay has given me douche chills. And by the way, the whole "till this day" rhetoric started during fight week of the first Fury bout, his first pay-per-view fight. I don't think he meant for that to go viral, but when it did, a bunch of opportunistic hangers-on saw dollar signs there because there's a lot of money in this activism shit. Keeping working class black people and working class white people on two opposite sides is how the people in control of this country right now stay in control, because they don't want those two groups to find out that they're both getting butt fucked with no lube at the same rate. They want people to think shit's loaded in one way, shit's loaded in a different way. That's what they want them to think, because the second those two groups of people, the second all working class, lower income people band together and realize who's really fucking them and that the real color involved is green, those people rise up. The elites in power, which does include Deontay Wilder, he's now an elitist, part of the power structure, just like anybody who's a millionaire. I mean, with his platform and his celebrity, those people lose their power once working class people band together. That's why they don't want you guys getting along. That's why they manipulate statistics. That's why they push certain parts of the protest. And they're not talking about the peaceful protest. They're not talking about real conversations real leaders are having. They're suppressing those voices. They're promoting the violence. They cherry pick during an election year which murder they're going to show you guys and promote to get everybody agitated about. They were the same people that were telling you couldn't leave your house during the COVID thing are the same people right now stoking the flames of anger. And it's not just anger, it's paranoia, it's fear, it's distrust. They want you all distrusting each other and being mad at each other and fearful of each other. As long as that stays around, those people stay in power. And by the way, it's both political parties doing this shit. It's both. Yes, one political party dominates the discussion and all the commerce. I get that. That is valid. But the other side, even though they don't control the media, they still have their ways of manipulating this to their constituents as well. Okay, so anyway, had to go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Anyway, the Deontay Wilder thing, I just think about his third fight coming up with Tyson Fury and how loaded that promotion's going to be. It's going to be like the rematch between Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward on steroids. And I hope Tyson Fury does what he did before the rematch and says, listen, this isn't about a white guy versus a black guy. This isn't about, I hope he sings that same tune. We know Deontay Wilder's probably not going to do that based upon some of his social media posts. I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong. But with all the Glovegate idiots on YouTube and all that, then everything that's been going on, plus it's an election year, oh my God, fuck a day. The promotion for that third fight is going to be hell to get through, ladies and gentlemen. And most of it's not even going to be about boxing for a lot of people tuning in. It's going to make big bucks. There's a lot of money in this shit. But is that what we really want for our sport? Is that what we really want? We should be bringing people together. Anyway, super chat pledge from my man, Trent Nanparil. Thank you so much, Trent. And if I'm butchering that name, please tell me how to pronounce it better. Not a genius. Yeah, I'm not a genius. Anyway, he says, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. I should say that. Thank you very much for your support. You always support the show, brother. Thank you very much for that. He says, yo, guess I'm okay with criminal money in boxing. Uzbek billionaire heroin trafficker Gafur Rakhimov was president of AIBA. He wants return on his investment, and now Jalalov will compete at the 2021 Heavyweight Olympics, even though he's a pro. Your thoughts? AIBA is a corrupt organization. Those are my thoughts. There's a reason why. Look, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, is the most corrupt sporting organization on earth. Not even close. There's no close second. The IOC is the most corrupt sporting organization on earth right now. Not even close. And they were questioning the ethics of AIBA and threatening to not have boxing in the games that were supposed to happen this summer. Think about that for a second. That tells you how troubled that entity is, okay? I'm not going to talk about individual players and all that. You guys already know all that stuff. You've heard all the stories. But it is a troubled organization, very much so. As far as pros fighting in the Olympics, that was ruled to be okay a few years back. I want to say it wasn't before 2016, but it was before 2020. So there was a committee that got together and said that that's okay. So whatever. If the pros want to compete in the Olympics, go for it. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It might have been before 2016. We might have had some pros compete in 2016. I know if I were a pro fighter and I was making good money and I had established a good career, a good living for myself, I probably would not want to go back and compete in the Olympics. However, some of these countries, particularly the old Soviet bloc countries and countries like China, just countries over in that part of the world, they pay good money to their amateur athletes because it's a status symbol for those types of countries to do well in international amateur competition like the Olympics. So, who is that in the chat? I should read this real quick. The comment in the chat from Ungar, he says 3 pros at Rio 2016 all lost early. That is right. I thought so. Yeah, so I remember there were a handful of pros that fought in 2016 and they all lost. It's a different style. The scoring system there, you guys think there's scoring issues in the professional boxing world. Olympic boxing scoring is atrocious. They don't even score body shots. It's ridiculous. So if this guy wants to compete in the Olympics, go for it. I watch Olympic boxing a little bit, but I don't pay that much attention to it. I do think it's important when people compete and just making the Olympic team and being in the Olympics as an amateur shows that you're a high level amateur. So when you see a professional fighter, you see a prospect coming up and you learn that they fought in the Olympics, they represented their country in the Olympics, that shows you that there is a certain amount of craft and skill there to get them to that level. I mean, to get to that level, you have to be a good amateur fighter. If you meddled, well, sometimes that is political. Gennady Golovkin was basically told by the people in charge when he fought in the Olympics, you're not going to get the gold. And he had to settle for a bronze, even though he deserved the gold. We saw Evander Holyfield get screwed over. We saw Roy Jones Jr. get screwed over. Floyd Mayweather got screwed over. We've seen a bunch of fighters screwed over in the Olympics. It's what happens, right? But just making it to that level, it is impressive, and it's something that matters, I think, when you're evaluating a prospect coming up. It shows, or even a veteran fighter, it shows a certain depth of experience and skill there. All right. So anyway, yeah, if pros want to go into the Olympics and fight, whatever. I mean, we let NBA players play basketball in the Olympics, so it is what it is. I'm fine with that. But AIBA, very corrupt organization. Super chat pledge from Deed3440. Thank you so much. He says, when will Madrimov get his title shot? Not this year, but next year. Israel Madrimov will fight for a title next year, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I think he'll win. All right, we got a couple calls here in the chat. Let's jump over to the phones. 773, you're on the neutral corner. Go.
Deontay Wilder, what a clown that guy is. I mean, you remember what he said about Wilder, or about Fury, what he said? He wanted to make him a Black History Month trivia question. And he was bringing up race all the time leading up to that fight and his walkout. And then he wants to come up. And what did Fury say? Fury took the everyman approach. He said, if that's not what it's about man versus man, pure competition. He took the high road like a classy athlete's supposed to. And now Wilder's going to come out and promote this crap. Get his day. What a clown that guy is. Man, I can't say it enough. And, of course, he's going to get a pass. No one's going to call him out. You're one of the few. But and none of you people at ESPN or Fox, they're not going to call him out for it. They're not going to call him a hypocrite. So what are you going to do? And as far as these boxing fights coming up, there's really not too many in the near future that are exciting. You really just got to wait for, I don't know, someone like Baranchik. Who's he fighting? I think there's a good fight he's supposed to be fighting.
That's in July. That's a good fight. And then I talked about before, Alvarez and Smith. That's a good fight. Campbell, Haney's a good fight. We're going to get them, dude. August, September, you're going to get some good matchups. But like a really big fight, probably not until Lomachenko and Lopez fight, or maybe the third fight between Fury and Wilder. Should happen, though. But unfortunately, they'll be pay-per-view.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just got to wait. I mean, it's the live gate thing. That might be an issue. Mm-hmm. That might be a reason why they're trying to hold off and wait. Put these big fights on. The Fury, Wilder, that may be the issue. And then Lopez, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko. I think that's why. You think that's why they're going to try to hold off and push him back as far as possible?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing,
Okay.
dude, is the live gate revenue. Look, talking about a fight like, let's say, Eladier Alvarez and Joe Smith Jr., they don't need a crowd because what those guys are getting paid, you don't need to do a big live gate to cover that, right? The TV fees and all that will cover it. Same thing goes with like Luke Campbell versus Devin Haney. But you need a big crowd for Lomachenko Lopez because that is a pay per view fight. They're getting a big payday, both of them. And of course, for Wilder and Fury, that's huge. You're talking, 8 figures for both guys. So you got to have that ticket sales, man. The live gate revenue, you got to have it.
You don't think pay-per-view would be able to cover it?
Brother, in years past, I would say yes. But you've seen what the sales have been for these pay-per-views, man. People, they don't realize that, if you sell, let's just say 100,000 pay-per-views at $80 a pop, well, people are like, what is the math on that? Is that $80 million? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm doing math in my head live here. But, okay, let's say you make $80 million or whatever. Well, you start whacking that up. I mean, half of it goes to the pay-per-view provider, and then you've got to pay for a bunch of other expenses. It's actually more than half now because there's so many different streams. So more than half goes to the pay-per-view provider. There's taxes. There's all these fees. Dude, the promotion's getting maybe a quarter of the pay-per-view sales when it's all said and done. Probably not even that much. So you got to sell a lot of pay-per-views to cover these purses. A big part, I mean, you think, I can't remember the exact number, but I think like Wilder Fury, that second fight, I know it did, I think at least like a $10 million gate. That's a big chunk of money right there, bro. That goes a long way to paying those guys.
Oh, definitely. I agree 100%. All right, Mike, thanks for taking my call. I just want to get that off my chest regarding Deontay Wilder. What a doofus that guy is.
I hear you, bro. Look, man, his messaging has been pretty divisive. Tyson Fury's messaging has been unifying. And I've been really critical of Tyson Fury in the past, with the whole, I thought that lineal champion thing was crazy, but he handled that situation in that second fight the right way, and I hope he sticks to that message. And it's just, yeah, man, I hear you, brother. Good call, man.
Definitely. All right, take it easy.
All right, you too, bro. All right, let's get to this other call. Let's see. 317. Oh, hold on. Let me click the button, Mike. 317. You're on the show. Go.
You know who this is?
I have a guess, but go ahead.
Say it, bro. If you have a guess, then say it.
Is this Jack?
Yes, sir.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought the area code. Dude, what is 317? What area is that? I know it's Indiana, but is that like Indianapolis?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay.
And it's funny because it's Indianapolis, but I don't even live in Indianapolis, but that's what my area code is. Yeah. All right. So you were on my podcast last time, or my channel, or whatever you want to call it, and I forgot to ask you. So when I see, everyone wants to look in shape, and I look at you and I see a big, muscular guy who works out all the time, and I want to know what's your workout routine, like what days you take a break on, like what time do you wake up to go running, and like stuff like that.
Right. Well, it changes, but I've been playing sports and stuff since I was, a teenager. So you're talking about 25 plus years of training, It just depends what you want, man. But I would say at your age, dude, you don't need a lot of recovery time. You should work out 6 days a week. And I would definitely lift 3 or 4 days a week. I do cardio 2 or 3 days a week. Just remember to fucking stretch. Dudes don't stretch. And don't worry about doing all these PRs and stuff. Like people worry about, benching 300 pounds, 400 pounds. It's about, it's not just about the big muscles. It's about what they call the prime movers. It's about the connecting tissue and the smaller muscles that people ignore in your core and stuff. That's what's going to help you later in life, dude. I've never had a shoulder injury, a knee injury, a back injury. Most guys who played sports by the age of 40, their fucking back is blown out. Their shoulders are blown out. You just got to make sure you take care of that stuff, man.
Yes, sir. I think the last guy who called, I think that was the Bob Arum guy. He said Bob Arum is the senile old person. You remember what he said?
I don't know if that was him or not. I don't know, but that was a good call.
No, I could tell.
This last call was a good call, not that call. This last call. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. I don't know.
No, I think it was, but yeah, man, I just wanted to call in to just ask how your workouts are going. When do you think are any of your gyms open like in your area?
Yeah, they just opened back up. They have certain procedures and shit. You got to get your temperature checked and everything when you go in, and everything, all the equipment spread out. So like I haven't lifted in like 3 months. I haven't lifted shit, probably 4 months, because I was training for a marathon, and then the whole pandemic thing hit. So like I wasn't even lifting before. So pretty much this whole year I've barely lifted. So I need to get back in the gym and do some lifting and get some bulk back on my arms and shit. But dude, yeah, man, just you need slow cardio. Like basically the first 20 minutes of your cardio is a throwaway. It takes a good 20 minutes or so to where you're really getting to the fat burning. So go for a 4 or 5 mile run at least once a week. That's your slow cardio, but then also do that HIIT cardio, bro. Do stairs, do sprints. Sprints are awesome. Of course, boxing, will take care of that too. But you got to get the lifting in too, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's crazy? Deontay Wilder said that he never did road work or like sprints. That's what he said apparently, and I thought that was I was like, I don't know if that's true or not. Like,
it can't be
I don't know
true
why he
because,
denied that.
No, because if he played basketball, I played basketball at a fairly high level. I played in the Marines and everything, and you run suicides and you do all sorts of road work in just playing basketball. So I remember.
No, I mean for boxing.
Oh, he said for
That's
boxing?
What he said for boxing. Yeah, for training, he doesn't need to do road work. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. I mean, I guess if he does enough jump rope and enough work on the bags and stuff like that, then maybe that's enough to break a sweat for him. I think he had knee injuries in the past. I don't know if it was knee or ankle, and that's why he got out of basketball. So maybe he doesn't like to do a lot of road work because he has knee problems or something. And maybe there is some truth to that. Dude, I'll say like guys like Vladimir Klitschko, he spent a lot of time in the pool. It's just most of us don't have access to a pool. He was a fucking millionaire. So,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was about to ask. Oh, yeah. So, I know you're probably going to be mad at me for saying this, but I remember you said, like, don't you think Joe Louis is better than Ali?
Yeah, I do. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's not that like necessarily I'd pick him head to head against Ali. It's that I rate him higher because of what he did in his era versus what Ali did. I rate him as the top.
But Bum of the Month Club. Bum of the Month Club, bro.
I get that. I get that. But he was also the longest reigning champion. He did beat some good fighters. The rematch with Max Schmeling was, I think, the most significant sporting event in America in the 20th century. He was the first Black American sports hero. He went a long way to helping pave the way for somebody like Ali. You could not have Ali without Joe Louis. A lot of people don't know that Joe Louis helped Ray Robinson when he was in the military get into officer school. He used his political pull to do that. So there's a lot of things that Joe Louis did for civil rights, particularly for black soldiers. I rate him number one because of the social impact he had. He doesn't get credit for it, but he really paved the way for a lot of other guys. And when he beat Max Schmeling in that rematch on the eve of the Great War and, the Nazi propaganda and all that, he blew that shit up, that evil ideology. Symbolically anyway. And I think that's important, dude. That's why I rate him number one. But you want to rate Ali number one, you get no complaint from me, brother. No complaint at all.
Yes, sir. All right, my dogs are barking. They're going crazy. I just had to mute my mic for like a solid minute right there. So, I'll talk to you later, Mike. Take it easy.
All right, man. You too. All right, everyone. Jack and his dogs. Let's see. I got to get back over here to the chat. Trent with another super chat pledge. Thank you again, Trent. He says, yo, Kinahan Cartel is MTK. And he's talking about MTK Global. They secretly run and own MTK. Kinahan is the largest cartel in Western Europe. MTK manages the best boxers from UK and Ireland. Thoughts? They manage Fury, Josh Taylor, Billy Joe Saunders. Christy Kinahan denied early release from Irish prison to continue criminal networking and learned fluent Russian and Spanish to be a better gun and drugs trafficker, straight killers. Okay, and then there's another one. So let's stick with Trent's. Look, there's been a lot of talk about that. Honestly, I don't know enough about the situation. I know it's officially on the record. I would love to talk to some people off the record about that situation. And one of these days when I get over to the UK, it's going to be one of the things I really, really dig into on the ground over there. But I'm not comfortable speaking on that situation with a strong opinion because I just don't know enough about it. I will say that MTK Global has put out communications saying we have nothing to do with this person. We have disassociated from that person. But there's still a lot of talk in the boxing community that he is still very much associated with them. And part of where they locate their office and stuff makes some of the illegal activities a little easier to get away with. I've heard all sorts of things. I am just not at liberty to talk about any of it with a strong opinion because I just don't know enough about the situation, and I don't want to pretend like I do. There are certain things you guys know I'm very vocal about and not afraid to share my opinion because I have a good, healthy understanding and a deep, knowledge base of it. This situation just is not one of them. So any of you guys out there that have some off-the-record inside information about what's going on over there, if you want to have a private talk with me and kind of teach me some of the things going on and we can talk about that, of course, I want it to be sourced. Of course, I want it to be something that I can, do my own additional research on top of it and find out, like, how legit is this? I don't deal in conspiracy theories. I want to deal in facts. So if some of you guys out there are tied or close to that situation, you want to talk to me privately, non-public, for safety purposes and stuff, we can set that up. We can make that happen because I'd like to learn more about it because, quite frankly, I claim ignorance on the subject, and that's something I don't like to do. Okay? So great stuff, Trent. It is officially MTK Global says we have nothing to do with these people. We were tied with them before. We're no longer associated with them. Behind the scenes, however, a lot of people say it's a different story. That's all I can really say, man. Super chat pledge from BB Mute Man. Thank you so much. He says, any plans to do more fight parties and old fights with a live chat, especially now that many are free to watch on TV. Also, happy early birthday. Well, thank you so much. And abso-freaking-lutely. I thought about maybe doing a fight party, for this return fight Tuesday. But honestly, do you guys want to see that? I doubt it. So I want to wait till there's a good, solid matchup that, has a 50-50 look to it. Maybe it is that Baranchek Zepeda fight. Maybe it's Jamel Herring's title defense. I mean, obviously he's favored in that fight, but that's right around the 4th of July. That might be fun to do. But yes, we will do them. And you guys saw my video where Tiffany and I watched Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad, and she gave her score as someone who's never seen the fight before, and then I gave my thoughts. If you'd like to see more of that stuff, I could do some more of that stuff too. I've been doing a lot of work on my house recently, and I'm kind of at a stage now where I'm not going to have to do any more work for the next month or so I can work more on some of this other stuff, okay? And now that boxing's back, I'm going to be working more heavily in boxing and we'll be putting out more material, okay? So thanks again for the Super Chat pledge. All right. On that note, guys, the phone lines are empty. We got all the calls out of the queue. And I say at this point, we're going to break, all right? So, again, no show next Monday. Now, perhaps I'll do a rant video or something in the meantime. But that is it for the show this week. And then we will be back, not next week, the 15th, but the following week, Monday, the 22nd. And we'll review these shows and preview the shows coming up, all right? So good calls today, guys. Thank you for putting up with me and listening to me rant a little bit. Hopefully I didn't trigger too many of you. Have a good night. I'll see you at the fights.